Hello, welcome to the Tea Party Hardy channel. Well, it turns out Mr. Rashid Brimage, the granny puncher, who decided to punch a 92-year-old school teacher in Manhattan 2 weeks ago, has some competition. Yep, New York City man wanted after woman, 73, punched in the face on a subway platform, police say. Here's the fine young gentleman who did it. Look at that face. Come on. It's a face every mother could love, right? Maybe? No? Maybe the mother he punched. Are you saying you know she's a mother? I don't. New York City police are searching for a man in connection to the assault of a 73-year-old woman who was punched in the face while standing on a subway platform last week. Well, clearly she had it coming if she was standing on a subway station. Good grief. Could she beg for it anymore? I don't think so. This is the world we're apparently living in. The incident happened around 7:15 p.m. on June 17th at the 174th and 175th station in the Bronx, the police said. The woman was waiting on the Manhattan-bound side of the platform. Well, there's your trouble. It's not that she was on the platform. I was completely wrong. It was that she was trying to get to Manhattan. Because remember, it was where the 92-year-old white woman who was bopped in the face by the young black man, Rashid Brimage. Why am I bringing up the race when I profess to not enjoy such things? I still don't enjoy bringing up such things. But when you have a majority of the country running around pulling their hair out because two white cops went to arrest two white cops went to investigate a call on a drunk man who was driving and fell asleep behind the wheel at a Wendy's drive-thru, and they have cordial engagement until he massively fails his sobriety test, and then when they go to arrest him, he starts fist-fighting the two cops. I'm sorry, but how many people out there are under the understanding that fist fighting with cops is going to ever end well? Who taught you that fist fighting with cops ever ends well? Because if you were taught that, you need to have a very firm discussion with the person that told you that, because that's definitely not correct. So he's fist fighting with the cops. He overpowers them, and he's able to get one of their tasers. And then he points it at him. He lands up with some bullets in him. Because fist fighting with cops has never been known to end well. Avoid it at all cost. As has been pointed out by many, and I will echo it. If the cop is giving you trouble, he's not the judge. Don't talk to him. You have the right to remain silent. Please take advantage of it. Deal with the judge. The cop is nothing but the go-between. That's it. If you mind your manners, bite your tongue, you have a really good chance, especially if you didn't do anything wrong, of hopefully good things happening. Now, I understand General Flynn and so many other examples in the White House weren't given that benefit of the doubt, and they have way more money and everything else, but let's not cloud this issue. So that's what America's pulling their hair out about. While we, because you're not going to hear this on the broadcast news. You do know that. You never heard of Rashid Brimage on the broadcast news. No, you heard it on Fox News, and that was it. And you didn't hear much of it on that channel. But here, no. Here is where they are presenting us again. It's Fox News again. Yeah. If you found it on CNN, please include the link in the comments. I want to see it. So here we are with this young gentleman walking up and randomly punching a 72-year-old woman. It does not list her color. I will make no assumptions for what that means, because you can't when it deals with the victim. 99% of the time, when it doesn't list the perpetrator's color, you can typically tell by the incident of what occurred, and 99% of the time, you're correct. Otherwise, they would have said, no, it was a white guy, because they love to brag about that in the news. So, here she was, waiting at the Manhattan-bound side of the platform, when a man walked up to her and punched her in the side of the face before fleeing the station, the police said. He did not speak or have any interaction with the victim before the attack, according to the police. Sounds very familiar, doesn't it, to Mr. Rashid? I've got 103 arrests under my belt. The woman was treated at the Bronx Care Hospital for pain and swelling, the police said. I'm going to interject this here. You realize when they find him, all they're going to do is take his picture, just like they did Rashid. Rashid was arrested 103 times. Several of those arrests were for sexual assault. And he was currently juggling 3 trial dates as it was when he got arrested, had his picture taken, was given a little piece of paper with a fine on it, and said, we'll see you at the 4th court date. It will be no different here. It will be no different at all. They will get in, they will add one more picture to go with these and all the other ones on his rap sheet. Now, that's a bit presumptuous of me. But I ask you, do you think this fellow, who casually walks up and punches a 73-year-old woman randomly, do you really believe this is his first incident of violence? Do you think this will be his first run-in with the police? If so, then he better have mental issues beyond the concept that it's okay to punch anybody randomly. And I will go ahead and throw in, for the sake of courtesy, let alone a 73-year-old woman. Police released surveillance photos of the suspect wanted in connection with the attack and asked for the public's help in identifying him so they can take that extra picture. Smile! Oh, you look lovely! Got it! Oh, wow! You've got like 75 of these other ones. You're going to have to work a little harder to catch up to Rashid. You know he's got 103 of these babies. 104 now. The incident happened less than a week after a 92-year-old woman was pushed to the ground. No, she really wasn't. She was pushed into a fire hydrant, and then she found the ground. And she wasn't pushed, she was punched in Manhattan, in what also appeared to be a random attack. It also appeared. Okay, so if you've seen the video, also appeared to be a random attack. So are you saying that this guy had a hit on her? Hey, you know that 92-year-old school teacher? Yeah, we want her taken down. We mean all the way down. Down to the fire hydrant. Boom! Right onto the concrete. Okie dokie. And then he went for it. Alright, so where'd we leave off? Yes. Days before that attack, an 80-year-old man... Whoa, there's men involved in this story. An 80-year-old man was dragged along the sidewalk in the Bronx as he was being robbed. Gives a whole new meaning to drive-through, and not a good one. So I guess what we can take out of this story is, regardless of what color you are, you have free reign to punch old people in New York. However, it appears only one group of folk are taking advantage of that, and it is the group of people that we are told consistently, especially lately, that the system comes down hard on them, and it doesn't treat them right, and it destroys their lives. And yet, Rashid Brimage, let's see, there we go, Mr. Rashid Brimage, 103 arrests. That's hardly the system coming down hard on him, don't you think? He was released, he's 31 years old. 103 arrests. Racked him up in 15 years, according to the reports I read. Where's the coming down hard on him? Where? It's a no-bail state, just like LA is a no-bail city. It was supposed to be removed, and they said, no, we like letting them criminals out on the street here in LA. How do you think we get all those riots? We have to work hard for those. And they're also going to institute affirmative action here. If you're not familiar with affirmative action, it's the legal way of saying we hire by race. We're racist, and we hire by race, and we promote by race, and we do our banking by race because we're racist. That's what affirmative action means. Don't believe me? Look at how it plays out. Systemic racism is supposed to be responsible for this, according to the cries all over the place right now. When you hear systemic racism, I want you to do this, if you will. The person that said There's systemic racism. Ask them which system, they'll tell you. Don't worry, they have that answer ready. After they tell you, ask them who built that system. Was it conservatives or liberal progressives? They might not be as quick to answer that, even though they do know the answer. When they mention the system for the systemic racism, and you've already asked them, was it conservatives or was it liberal progressives that created it? Ask, was this done in a conservative area or a liberal progressive area? And the same thing goes for fields. Like if they say, oh, education is so cruel, it's filled with systemic racism. And I will tell you this, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. They do not treat the races the same in the school. Nope, nope, nope. Obama made sure that if you weren't white, let me repeat that. Obama made sure if you weren't white, you would be treated with constant forgiveness. That is how we got the Valentine's Day Massacre. That kid was exempted from the law by President Barack Hussein Obama. You can look it up. It's available on the same internet that you found this video. Grades are not done the same. That's systemic racism. Do you think, outside of California where it's against the law because they voted against it, but of course LA's going to try and ignore that, you can't use SAT scores to get in to California schools for that. Of course, they got rid of the SATs this year because of that. But nonetheless, you look at the other schools that accept the SATs. If you are, your color determines your score, not the score. Your score doesn't determine your score. Your flesh tone determines your score. So yeah, it's completely systemic racism. And that was not created by conservatives. Nope, 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 nope. We have this information that you should really consider. If you're an elderly lady and you live in New York, please consider wearing a helmet when you're in public, because this is bad. He won't have any punishment. He won't have any corrective measure beyond having an additional photo taken, unless people start voting different. De Blasio has made the city awful. Who's to blame? De Blasio. It's the leaders that made the no bail, the no cash bail. It's the leaders that are letting all these guys off. What do you think it's like for the cops? You know, some are actually human, who arrest this guy and arrested Brimage. And they bring them in. And they know, as soon as they're done booking them, they have to let him go. They know that. As if everything else isn't enough of a morale kick in the parts that you don't want to be kicked in. You add this layer to it. We'll see you in the future.